Okay, you know, I'm noticing that for whatever reason, I'm not showing up. This is quite amazing. Let me try this again. Give me just a moment here, chat. I just love when things don't want to work the way that you want them to. Yeah, I'm looking at this now, and it is not pretty. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. I don't know what happened. I really don't. Wow. I am not sure how to feel about this. These are issues like what I would have with OBS. Oh, this is lovely. Wow. Give me just a moment here. I'm gonna see if maybe restarting my PRPR Live will help with this at all. I do not know what happened. I do not know what happened, chat. Let's see if we can actually get this to work. Nope, I am not seeing anything. Let me just try one more time. Oh, and I hear a siren. That is lovely. And, you know, I can kind of see myself, but this is not at all what I am looking for. I should not be this vertical. I don't look like myself right now. I don't know why I'm stretched out in this weird way, and I don't like it. I can't seem to fix it either without actually just completely turning off my streaming stuff. So I think I'm probably just gonna like hide myself for now. I hate doing it, but apparently today is not the day that I get to show myself. Because it's just not working. So I guess I'm gonna get into kind of what I like to do then. Just wow, a VTuber who cannot get their stuff to work. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and get started here, since y'all can see the screen. So basically what I like to do is every time I get a brand new phone, I like to make a new phone design. But when I am actually doing, like, whenever I make a phone design, right, normally I want it to be something that lasts, you know, until I get a brand new phone. Well, in this case, I actually had made art that didn't meet my standards, but I only just realized it. So instead, I am making a new phone case now. Now, the way that I usually recommend doing this is first you are going to effectively find the size of your phone. You need to know the dimensions of your, like, actual height here and your widths. You need to know your width and your height. And you're also going to need to know approximately where your camera is. So in this case, you might notice that I actually have boxed out this entire area. So this is a no draw zone. Whoa, that is not what I wanted to do. I wanted an actual brush for this. So, no. Draw zone. So we don't draw right here because that's where the camera is. So instead I thought about making Lucky, myself, basically sitting by a campfire with like a shooting star. This is my most basic sketch. So what I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna find myself a nice darker blue color that I like to use for doing sketches. And I'm just gonna start rendering. Now when I did my last case, I actually went to a site called Case Custom. They do not currently have my model of phone, for the phone cases. So I can't go to the same place that I went before. So I'm gonna actually be looking for another one, but I did post the link in the description if you guys wanted to check out the place that I used originally. So basically, you just want something that's going to stick out in a way that you like it. For me, I just kind of make... I'm not quite into that. That is... honestly, the lines are kind of... You're basically just gonna make something that you think will stand out. I personally have a clear case, but I found that you could really just use whatever kind of case you wanted if you take into account the actual like shape of it. Right now I'm pretty much just rendering out the picture that I want, the design. I will tell you, for those of you who think that I'm some crazy good artist, this is generally how I start all my pictures. They just start with just really super basic shapes and posing. There is nothing complex here. I have aphantasia, so I don't really imagine things. Instead, I just kind of wing it. And also I use what I do know to make better art. Like, I know that this is going to kind of come out over here. Maybe make something like that. And I can actually come out and like start fleshing out some of that there. I need that to kind of come around. Now, of course, I still like have the eyebrows, the bangs, all that fun stuff. I honestly, I'm not an anatomical expert. I'm not going to try to fool anyone and say that I am. I'm going to use, I think, 2.5. And then I'm going to kind of feel like that's appropriate because I have goggles. Now, of course, naturally, howdy, Fallen. Welcome on in. I know this time you do not see me. And, that was not intentional, but apparently my computer, for whatever reason, doesn't want the mic to work, or it doesn't want my VTuber model to work. So this is what I am dealing with. We roll with the stuff here. We deal with our problems by just not really messing with them. But I am not some anatomical master. I just literally do the best that I can without putting too much thought and effort into what I'm doing. Thinking that the other one might need to be a little bit more, what do you say, maybe thinner, pointing a little bit more in the other direction. I'm not looking for perfection. I used to be a perfectionist, and then I learned that it just doesn't work. I think probably like really kind of thin like that, and then I think maybe more like, it's a little bit too thin. I think maybe more like that. Ah! I am doing really bad at at making this work the way it should. It's always frustrating. And you know, once again, I'm not looking for perfection here. I'm just looking for something that is believable. And as long as it's believable, that's all I really care about. Although that's still like a little bit too far out. You know what? I think I'm still gonna leave it like that, but then I'm gonna like redo the circle again. I think maybe like I think that's closer to what I want. I could just bring this out here. There we go. Nothing to see here. Well, still not quite it. You know what? I think I know how this is supposed to actually look. And I think that's going to be more like this. Right? And we're not going to actually see anything. We're not going to see the lens. We don't need to worry about that. And then from here, kind of usually like to make just a little bit of like a clip thingy. Like so it goes around the head. Let's see. Zooming back out. And now comes the wild hair. I kind of just throw a bunch of, I guess, tufts of hair off into random directions when I'm doing this. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just enough to kind of give it some shape, you know? The bottom of the head kind of comes up and around. I never fully use the entire sphere for the head because I find that that doesn't always work. And that's a normal part of the process. And as always, we like to save our work here because we do not like to have problems. Okay, so now I gotta start actually filling out the rest of it. So I guess the next part is starting to actually build the body. Now, normally the neck will kind of come down like this. Then we have the inside part, which is kind of like a, how do you call it? like a collared shirt. Of course, when I'm doing stuff like this, these kinds of textures, I like to bring down the stabilization, because I know that I got jacket fluff here. So, like, I'll bring down the neck. And then probably because she's turned to the side, you're not going to see the collared shirt from this side. So it's probably going to be more like this. Kind of bringing this up and around. Because this is like the jacket fluff. Because she's wearing a bomber jacket. At least typically. I've thought about, like, coming up with, like, different, like, costume designs for her. But, you know, that's work. So, from here, I'm gonna kind of draw the basic shape of the arms. Once again, this is not looking at anatomical correctness, but just generally knowing the approximate form. As I always say, I always get some references. I'm not currently looking at references, and as a result, you will notice that the art drastically is not as good. But the main thing is I wanted to kind of have a better phone art than I've got going on right now. Now, knowing that, you know, we are on YouTube here, you have to be mindful of certain things, like certain anatomy. But with that being said, it has to be acknowledged, so obviously knowing kind of how the torso forms, and this might even be more out like this. But we do know, obviously, there's going to be some more stuff going on up here. Even if it's kind of being pushed back. I'm probably going to take the eraser here and kind of thin this out a little bit. Make it a little bit easier when I'm going back through. Because while I like to make some nice bold lines and make it easier when I'm doing my inking, that would help just as much. So it's kind of important to note here, once again looking at the whole anatomy issue, it's still not quite even how I want it to be, because we do know that this is going to kind of come up around here, so this actually might even be even lower. Because you also have to think about the arm over here. And you know, in theory, that this is going to kind of come in over here. Like that. Because she has a zipped jacket, this is going to kind of go like this. Once again, not anatomically correct. And I'm not sure if I ever will be. The important thing is that it is believable to the people who are looking at it, and it's not so far off that it's just not recognizable. Let me see here. Okay, so now we have basic front. This is also gonna kind of Alright. And regardless of, like, if you can imagine or not, like, regardless, like, your background or your history, I know a lot of people are up in arms about the whole, like, AI art thing, and also, like, I can't actually do art because I'm not talented, and honestly, I think if you like art, you should learn art. I mean, I understand that not everyone will be able to, but I do know that not having an imagination is not really a reason to not. Especially as corporations decide more and more that they don't need us. We need to actually show them that we are in fact valuable and still very much necessary. AI would not be able to produce the art that it does without having someone to begin with who contributed. Now I've got the basic formation done, at least of the upper body. Now I'm gonna start working on this part, which in theory might be easier. We're gonna find out as I start drawing this. I would like to at least get the sketch for this done during this stream. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize that they could actually quite literally make their own phone art. Like, if they want to have a custom case with their character design on it, they absolutely can. And I pretty much always do that for mine. I'm gonna turn up the stabilization now that I'm actually, like, you know. Also gonna turn up the music because I feel like it's kind of quiet. There we go. I feel like that's better. Whoop. So I can start to flesh out some of this pose. I will note one of the reasons I did not make Lucky's design too crazy is because I wanted it to be easier to draw. Because as an artist who does not have a lot of time, I can appreciate having a design that takes, well, less time. Zoom back in now that I've gotten a little bit of a further away look at this so I know what I'm doing. And you probably also notice that I've not done the hands yet. And that's the same as with the feet. I figure out the exact actual posing once I have established what exactly I'm doing. Like, as you can see, this definitely didn't quite go over as far. I just used the initial pose sketch as a general reference. When you start doing more and more art, you're gonna notice more and more when things look kind of off. Once again, I'm not 100% committed to this pose. It's probably going to change a little bit, but I am getting at least the general gist of this thun. Normally, now, just to bear in mind, I know a ducktail usually looks a little something like this, right? And like that part's the underside. But that's not the case with Lucky the way that I draw her, because she's so big. She's, you know, anthropomorphic. So I usually draw just more like... Let me actually up the stabilization even more. I usually draw more like... almost like turkey feathers. And then obviously you wouldn't see the feathers on the other side, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'll probably kind of push this a little bit. Sometimes I'll use like the fingertip to kind of push things. Granted, it doesn't look as good when you're looking at a sketch, but I can kind of... And that way I can kind of get a little bit more, I guess, meat into the feathers. And then I'll come back through and actually ink it out. Let me see here. So I got that. Now it's time to actually, like, look at the hands. And typically for that, I like to look at, like, Pinterest to take a look at, like, different hand poses. In this case, I'm thinking of kind of almost like a clawed hand, if that makes sense. But not quite, like... If you look up clawed hand, you're not gonna find what I'm looking for. But like, being able to kind of understand the hand anatomy a little bit better is usually a plus. For hands, I tend to like to draw in a little bit different of a color, just for my own sake, because once again, I am not the best at drawing hands. You would not think that would be the case, considering my hands usually look pretty good. But it definitely is. So right now I'm looking at like the top of the palm, right? And then thinking about like how it would kind of come forward like that. And I'm thinking of like how the palm would look, right? So right now I'm looking at really basic shapes. With this, I'm thinking almost like a, not quite like a box, but like a house. Like the kind of triangular, but then this isn't quite. And that kind of comes in because that's like the side, right? And now you might have like the pinky right here, kind of like a box almost. Once again, paying attention to how it actually like curls over. Usually, wherever this happens, you're gonna find a lot more, I guess, creasing. And then you'll see more parallel. And you might not always see all 4 fingers up here. Sometimes you might even see the thumb kind of coming in. So from here I got kind of like this. And I usually like to draw these as like gloves, kind of. But you'll see that a little bit less on this side. Alright, so that's one hand. I might tweak that a bit to be a little bit more flatter, like facing us a little bit more. And then, let's see on this one. I'm thinking of a very similar pose, so we have like the top of the gloves. A little bit easier to draw right here. Once again, kind of thinking almost like a box. I'm thinking about like where the like index finger, the middle finger, and all those would go. But if like the thumb is trying to like angle out a little bit triangular. I feel like this is turning from a phone case tutorial into how do you draw hands? And here I'm trying to make it look almost like these are kind of curving over. That's pretty much about how I like to sketch out hands. I know that's not the best hand sketch ever, but we're gonna save this now because once again, we save our work here because we do not like to lose it. Howdy, Eileen. Welcome on in. So today we are doing a faceless and model-less stream because my computer just decided that it was just not going to have mic or it wasn't going to have my model, so this is what we do. We improvise here. So right now I have the general pose. Probably gonna move this a little bit more over to the left. Maybe angle this a little bit more to the right. But this is about what the phone design is ultimately going to look like when I'm done. This is obviously just the sketched version. And as I was mentioning before, I like to do my hands in red or some other color because otherwise I end up with problems. I almost feel like that thumb actually needs to come out a little bit more too. That's what happens when you don't look at enough hand reference, is it just looks weird. And melt, Aline. Why you melt? Is it because it's so warm? I mean, I know it's warm. Thinking more like this. There we go. This, I promise this will look better when I actually color it and stuff. But yeah, this is pretty much how you make a phone case. You gotta do your measurements, and then you make a canvas with those measurements. For me, because I have the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, my dimensions were 75.6 millimeters by 165.1 millimeters. I also am doing this in 1200 DPI because I think that higher quality is better for these things. yeah, the really hot heat, like 100 degrees, is just absolutely insane. I'm happy I am up in Delaware where it's not as hot. However, we are having just as much crazy weather, so there is that. So yeah, when it comes to just like trying to make your own custom phone case, the main things to think about are the overall design in relation to the camera. You don't want to be drawing where there is camera, and because otherwise it's not going to make any sense. And the other thing is just making sure that you have a high enough quality that when it gets printed, it can actually be distinguished. I will note, in my experience, that if you have colors that are near the same kind of like value, for example, like if you look at my color palette here, my pants color right here is very similar in value to like my jacket color. Like this is basically a dark gray, but it looks like it's effectively black. The problem is when you have colors that are really close to each other, when they get printed out onto merch, they tend to look like one color. However, you can use that to your advantage when you're using secondary colors for shading, because you can make it look like actual shading, which is nice. That's what I did here. So yeah. This is the general design of my phone case right now that I'm about to flesh out. And I'll probably post a follow-up to this once I actually get the phone case. Which will obviously be after I finish the art for this. But I wanted to help people get like an understanding of how this works and how you could, as an artist, effectively make your own. Which, even if you're not an artist, there is a website called Canva that you could go to actually like come up with some creative designs on your own. You would just need to create a canvas that actually is the same size as your phone. So yeah, I think that's probably gonna wrap it up for tonight with this first ever faceless and modelless live stream / video, I guess. I do want to thank you guys for coming. And as always, I will see you guys very soon. I'm hoping to finish my chibi model very soon. And we could do some more fun art stuff. Maybe some more gaming too, if I could find the time.